There's something I need to share, and it's important that you truly listen. Whatever you're pursuing, the salary, the position, the property, the physique, the approval, whatever you believe will finally make your life complete, it will not deliver what you imagine. My name is William. I am 77, and I dedicated 5 decades of my existence to pursuing things that could never fill the void I was attempting to fill. 5 decades. That's a considerable span to spend pursuing the incorrect goal. So stay with me for a moment, because what required half a century for me to grasp, I aim to offer you now. Perhaps you won't squander as much time as I did. We all engage in this pattern. We all declare, I'll be content when. I'll be content when I receive the promotion. I'll be content when the mortgage is clear. I'll be content when I retire. I'll be content when people finally acknowledge me. I repeated that my entire life, my whole life, and guess what? I got the promotion. I cleared the house. I retired. People acknowledge me, I suppose. At 77, you cease monitoring, but here is the unspoken truth. When you obtain the object, there is invariably another one. Constantly, the goalpost shifts. You believe you're nearly there, and then you glance up and it's more distant than when you began. I spent 50 years racing toward a finish line that wasn't real. Allow me to share an aspect of my past I'm not fond of. I came from a family with little money. Not destitute, but sufficiently aware of scarcity. My father labored in a factory his entire life. He returned home exhausted each night, his hands worn, and people still regarded him as insignificant, as though he didn't count. I witnessed that. I was perhaps 10 or 11, observing how people treated my father, and something within me resolved that would not be my fate. I would become a person of consequence. I would command respect. So that's what I pursued. I labored. Goodness, how I labored, 60, 70 hours some weeks. I missed my children's upbringing, missed evening meals, missed their ball games, missed it all, but I was constructing something. I was becoming somebody. By 52, I was a vice president with a corner office. People addressed me as sir. My name was on the door, and you know something, I felt nothing. Well, not exactly nothing. It's difficult to describe. Hollow. It was as if I had scaled an entire mountain only to find the summit empty, with just another peak in the distance. I recall sitting in that corner office, door shut, gazing out the window, thinking, this is it. This is what I sacrificed everything for. It required another 20 years to comprehend what had occurred. 20 years. I suppose I'm not a quick study. Here is what I ultimately realized. I wasn't pursuing money. I wasn't pursuing titles. I wasn't even truly pursuing respect. I was pursuing a sensation. I desired to feel sufficient, to feel significant, to feel worthy of being here. That was my true quarry. And I assumed that if I just accomplished enough, if I just ascended high enough, I would finally experience it. But you cannot derive that sensation from a job title. You cannot extract it from a bank statement. You cannot obtain it from people calling you sir. That feeling, the feeling of being enough, I could have granted it to myself all along. I required no one's authorization. I didn't need to earn it. I simply needed to decide. Decide that I was worthy, that I mattered, that I was sufficient exactly as I stood. I could have done that at 25. I did it at 73. That's 48 years I lost trying to earn something that was already my possession. A similar pattern occurred in my marriage. Different scenario, identical error. I believed that if I provided sufficiently, if I gave my wife the house, the cars, the fine possessions, she would be happy. We would be happy. That was my role, correct. To provide. So I provided relentlessly for that marriage. But do you know what my wife truly desired? She desired my presence. She wanted me there listening, and I wasn't. I was at the office or contemplating work or too weary from work to offer any companionship. We nearly separated when I was about 48. And it wasn't due to a lack of success. It was because I was absent. Even when I was physically home, I was gone. She told me once, and I remember this vividly. She said, William, I don't need the money. I need you. I need you to see me. I need you to listen to me. I need you to be present. And I didn't understand. I thought I was being present. I was settling the bills, wasn't I? I was maintaining our shelter. It took me a long while to understand the distinction between providing for someone and being present with someone. They are not equivalent, not remotely. I'm 77 now. Most of my friends are near my age, some older, some younger. A few have already passed, and I've observed something noteworthy. Those who are unhappy, they are still pursuing, still comparing, still keeping tally. I have a friend. He's 84 and still aggrieved that his neighbor possesses a finer car. 84. Still peering over the fence, still measuring himself against others, and he's wretched, truly wretched. I have another friend. She's 79 and her sole conversation is about her lacks, her aching knees, her infrequently calling children, her insufficient pension. Everything is a grievance. Everything is an issue. She has been discontent for as long as I've known her, and she will remain so until her final day because she is still anticipating something external to change so she can finally be all right. But then I have other friends and these individuals. I'm not certain what it is precisely, but they possess something, a levity, a serenity. They are not attempting to prove anything to anyone. They are not keeping score. They are simply here, present, curious about the world, appreciating what is before them. My friend Earl is 86, and he is the most content person I know. He doesn't have much, a modest apartment, a fixed income, frail health, yet he wakes each morning thankful. He is always learning something unfamiliar, reading, inquiring. He once told me, "William, I spent 60 years trying to be somebody. Now I'm just trying to be here, and it's vastly superior." That is the distinction. It is not money. It is not health. It is not even family, though that assists. It is whether you have made peace with yourself, whether you have ceased pursuing and commenced being. Do you wish to understand what authentic liberty feels like? I'll describe it. It isn't possessing substantial wealth. I have affluent friends who are prisoners within their own minds, anxious about everything, incapable of enjoying anything. Authentic liberty is when the matters that once troubled you cease to do so. When someone speaks harshly and it slides away like water. When you no longer move through life requiring everyone's affection. When you can look into the mirror, see a 77-year-old man returning your gaze and state, "Yes, that's me, and I'm at peace with that." Authentic liberty is not requiring anything external to be all right internally. And that, my friend, requires most people an entire lifetime to decipher. Some individuals never decipher it. They perish still pursuing, still waiting, still believing joy is just around the next bend. Here is the snare, and I want you to genuinely comprehend this. You assume that once you obtain the object, you will be satisfied, but you will not. There is always another object. I settled my house at 58. Believed I would feel liberated. Believed I would finally unwind. You know what transpired? I began fretting about the next matter, retirement funds, medical expenses. What if the economy collapses? What if this? What if that? The apprehension did not vanish when my situation altered. The apprehension simply located a new subject for attachment. And that is when I perceived something crucial. The fear does not depart when your life improves. The fear departs when you change. When you resolve, you will no longer permit it to direct your life. When you determine that you are all right now, today, irrespective of tomorrow's events. That is internal labor. No sum of money can accomplish that for you. No accomplishment, no relationship. It is something you must undertake yourself. All I believed I desired, the title, the money, the house, the respect. I didn't genuinely want those objects. I desired to feel secure. I desired to feel significant. I desired to feel cherished. And I was seeking those sensations in all the incorrect locations. I was attempting to extract them from my career, from my finances, from others' opinions. But those feelings, security, worthiness, love, I could have granted them to myself at any moment. I didn't need to earn them. I merely needed to accept them. To accept that I was already secure, already worthy, already loved. That sounds elementary. I realize it does, but it required 50 years for me to genuinely comprehend it, and I am still practicing. Honestly, 77 years old and I am still practicing. Young individuals believe happiness awaits at the finish line. I believed that too, but there is no finish line. You achieve one thing, another appears. You resolve one problem, another emerges. That is simply existence. That is its mechanism. Therefore, if you are postponing happiness until everything is flawless, you will postpone indefinitely because it will never be flawless. Something will always be amiss. Something will always be absent. The journey is the destination. I heard that phrase once and didn't comprehend it. Now I do. This is it. Right here, right now. This is your existence, not when you get the promotion. Not when you meet the ideal partner. Not when you clear the debt. Now, if you cannot locate some tranquility on the path to your destination, you will not locate it upon arrival either. I assure you, I have been there. The arrival does not feel as you imagine. Therefore, here is what I wish for you to retain from all this. Cease waiting. Cease telling yourself, "I'll be happy when." That is a falsehood. I trusted that falsehood for 50 years, and all it granted me was 5 decades of deferred living. Whatever you believe you require to be happy, you do not require it. What you require is to decide you are sufficient right now, today, with everything precisely as it exists. You are sufficient. Do you hear me? You are already sufficient. You do not have to demonstrate it. You do not have to earn it. You simply have to accept it. I am 77 years old. I have committed numerous errors. I have pursued many incorrect things. I have squandered considerable time. But the one certainty I possess is this. Everything you are seeking is already within you. You simply must halt your pursuit long enough to perceive it. If this resonated with you, pass it along to someone who is wearing themselves thin pursuing something that will never complete them. And share with me below, what is your personal "I'll be happy when"? What are you awaiting? What would transform if you simply decided you were sufficient at this moment? Subscribe if you desire more dialogues like this.